Thank you for tuning into another episode of Time Traveler's Handbook. Today I'm going to continue to talk about Heaven Sent. Spoilers ahead. So last time we talked about the description of the non-temporal time loop that the Doctor is trapped in. I wanted to talk a bit more about this episode because I feel like there are a lot of implications of this kind of time loop that I wanted to explore more deeply. First thing is that we have some more insight from Stephen Moffat that suggests that the loop is not exactly deterministic, but that the Doctor made it more deterministic during his first loops. Simply put, on his first go-round, he is in the castle for years and years. He paints that painting of Clara, he wanders for a long time before he finds the significance of the room with the 20-foot diamond wall. He then leaves clues for the next Doctor clones, leading them towards the right direction to get them through the loop and make that happen more frequently. This causes a more deterministic outcome, but if he hadn't have done that, it would still have been deterministic on the surroundings of the area he was in. So initially when he comes in, that basically sets the determinism of the world because his mind is being reset to the same exact place. This is really one of the only examples that we see in any media about a non-temporal time loop that I can think of at least. And the show does a really good job at making it feel like a time loop without actually being a time loop. As you may have noticed from previous episodes, time loops are not very frequent occurrences in a world that is not deterministic, and revisiting the same time is very difficult for the main characters to do without causing paradoxes. That's kind of baked into the rules of the universe. This is why a loop had to be non-temporal, because in this kind of world, a temporal loop just can't really happen. There was one instance of a true temporal loop, which happened in the Big Bang, but this time loop was essentially just caused by the TARDIS as a safety mechanism for when it blew up, protecting the inhabitants of the TARDIS, and it was using the fact that the TARDIS was blowing up as the fuel for that time loop, so it took a lot of energy. However, this time loop had no memory transferred between the loops, meaning the inhabitants never remembered that they had already lived this, and thus it was really only a time loop from the outside perspective, and it was still continuing on forward through time, even though they were experiencing time differently. So it again follows this sort of non-temporal time loop nature of it, where it's just resetting them to the same position, but time is continuing forward. Another important thing to note with this episode is that if the technology existed to create a perfect clone of yourself with their memory set at that specific time, and that the rooms in this location reset or could be maintained, then a non-temporal time loop would be possible in a world that doesn't have time travel, like our own. Essentially, from that person's perspective, they would not remember the previous iterations, and thus this can be used for tormenting someone or getting information out of someone, like what happens in this episode. I think that all of the things that we've discussed here make this a very useful mechanic, and that it can be used as a foundation for unique time loop stories. Making a time loop without breaking the rules of time travel lends to more possibilities in terms of not having to mess with timelines or paradoxes or anything like that, and that can make things really clear for an audience in a different way that's fresh and unique. And I'm a bit sad that we haven't seen it anywhere else and that this hasn't been explored in different directions. I feel like this has a lot of potential to make a lot of difference in the time loop genre of time travel films. In any case, I hope we see more in the future, and I hope that things like this can inspire people to write about things like this. So that's it for this episode. Again, this is one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who, and I really hope you enjoyed watching the episode and enjoyed me talking about the episode. Next time, we're going to finish off season 9 with Hell Bent. There's just a couple of more things that we want to talk about regarding this season. As always, thank you for listening.